tell you, girl, this day ain't over. My job ain't done. Baby, till I make you smile. Let me tell you, girl, this day ain't over. My job ain't done. Baby, till I make you smile. Let me tell you, girl, this day ain't over. My job ain't done.
Hello, everyone. It's Pro White Male Leadership, and I'm here with another live. And tonight's live is a very important live. I have Vincent here. We're going to talk about what's up, Vincent. We're going to talk about something very important and what the world needs to know, what is important. Vincent is here. He's going to explain everything that we need to know, because there has been this strong conversation about male superiority. Well, in the male hierarchy, I would say, and who are, I would say, as a woman, is the superior male. But moving forward, I'm going to let Vincent take over. Vincent, you have the floor. You know what to do. You're wonderful. Go at it.
All right, so give me your topic real quick. So for this first slide, when you talk about just masculinity compared between the different groups.
Absolutely. We got highs, we got neutrals, and we got lows.
Okay. So we'll start with the low, and I don't have too much to say there that I haven't talked about before. But as I've said before, and I don't mean to keep saying this every single live, but it is important for people to understand this, is that this is a very closeted group. That the way they maneuver in life, and even a lot of the ways they conduct themselves in the day to day, and they adorn themselves, are very feminine. Black men almost have this like Karen type of personality, and nobody calls it that. But the idea where they're annoyed by absolutely everything and this entitlement, that is Karen behavior. They are guilty of this. Like you'll see it where closing scenes and checkout lanes and stuff like that. Like they're the only demographic of men that behave like that. There's also, I've said this before, but like the obsession with shoes and jewelry, even if it's not the same type of shoes and jewelry that women would wear, they're still oddly enamored with things like shoes and jewelry. This is effeminate, right? Like they can call it a chain all they want, but it's an expensive diamond necklace. You get what I'm saying? He went to Jared and got some shit for himself. That's gay as all hell. You know what I'm saying? Like, a man should wear a wedding ring and a watch, and that should be the beginning and end of his jewelry. But black men don't. They'll often be wearing more jewelry than the woman he's with. So there's also the HIV epidemic in the black community that's caused by these guys and their gay closeted behavior. You get what I'm saying? This is, and I'm not just saying that to be funny. Like that's an actual problem. Like I said, we've talked about that a lot of times. So I'm not going to keep talking about it.
No, but Vincent, I don't want to say anything personal about you, but I've been in the medical field before. So I'm very aware of that. There's also a couple of black women that are subscribed to me are also in the medical field. So we're very aware of that situation, and we know that's a fact. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know I talk about that a lot, but hold on real quick. But yeah, that's just something. Like I feel like every single live I've talked about that so far, so I don't mean to keep talking about it, but again, just they are DL. They are gay. They like even if they don't present that way, You get what I'm saying? Because like honestly, the ones that are just outright opening gay, like, well, then they're gay and that's their lifestyle. The problem, the thing I want to focus on here is the closeted gays, which black men are more than any other race. You know what I'm saying? Like white, Asian guys, like they'll just be gay. Black men, they'll still try to present the tough guy image, even if it's fake. And like I said, the whole tough guy, like a black guy being a tough guy, it's fake. You look at them whenever they act out. What do? They attack the elderly, they attack children, or they attack women. Whenever they attack a white man of equivalent age, they always jump him. Really pay attention to that. Is like they'll attack an old person, but whenever, like, if a 25-year-old black guy is attacking a 25-year-old white guy, he jumps him. He brings a group with him. You know what I'm saying? Like a pack of wolves attacking a bear. Like they need help. And this right there is an admittance on black men's part that they suck. You know what I'm saying? No black guy wants to fight me one-on-one. If they're going to fight me, they got to bring 5 of their friends. Like I saw this video where like dead ass one white guy fought off like 10 black guys.
Yeah, I saw that too. I saw that. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so shit like that. But this is the way they do. They love to jump. And they like to be tough guys with old people, with children, and with women. This is another reason why inevitably in this comment section we'll have some bussy bleeding boy up in here bleeding with his bussy hole in the comment section about this whole thing. But why is he here? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't go to black men's channels or anything. Like, oh, how do y'all talk about that? Like I just don't talk to him. But he's here to argue with women. He knows that the majority of listeners are women, and that's what he's here for. They confront women because they would lose confronting any other group of men. So for the time being, as far as focusing on the black male group, I don't really have anything else to say that I haven't said 1,000 times on here already. So for now, I'll let them go. This neutral group, we've never really talked about this before. I don't think I have. And I want to start this off by saying that I do not think lowly of this group. I don't. I've met a lot of great guys in this group. Friends with some guys in this group. That being said, there are some things that they could do better. But again, they're not. I do not think poorly of this group. So something that, like, I want to praise Hispanic men. Generally speaking, I know there are exceptions, but generally speaking, I want to praise them on their work ethic because they do seem to have a very strong work ethic. I really don't know too many lazy Hispanic guys, but they don't seem to be that smart. And by that I'll say is it's like, they'll be like a janitor and he'll be the hardest working janitor you ever did meet, but he's still a janitor. You get what I'm saying? But that being said, for the most part, Hispanic men seem to take care of their kids. They're definitely, I think, after black men, they would be the second worst group as far as not taking care of their kids. But the gap is very wide. That's a huge margin.
They're right behind black men on a 50% out of wedlock birth rate. They also have a very high domestic violence rate, right behind black men, unfortunately, and also a very high femicide rate, unfortunately. And that could be backed up by Pew Research and the U.S. Census Bureau, unfortunately. Yes.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't even need to, like, I believe everything you say, and I appreciate that. I don't even need to look up statistics to know that, just based on life experience, with that group and running into them. But that doesn't surprise me. That being said, though, like, I'm sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure the distance between Hispanic men and black men, as far as every single one of those statistics, is very big. Like, Hispanic men do come in second, but it's a distant second compared to black men, I would say, based on what I've seen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, but no, honestly, I actually thought second, as far as domestic violence, would actually go to Middle Eastern guys. But I don't know, maybe
globally, if you're thinking in the terms of United States, it would be Hispanic men. But there's extremely high rates of domestic violence and femicide in men of color. And I said that before on some of my lives. I don't understand why that is, but there seems to be that problem amongst men of color globally.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. I really would. I wonder if that's just because we don't have as Middle Easterns here in this country as Hispanics that the stats are skewing that way. But like, that's even like the major religion, Islam, that Muslims practice, that Middle Easterns practice. Sorry, is that they are for the most part Muslims. He encourages that kind of behavior. You know what I'm saying? Whereas Hispanics tend to be Catholic, and that's just not the same way. But that's my big thing is honestly, I would not be wild like if I had a daughter. I've talked about this before. Black men, fuck no, just not an option. An Hispanic man, I don't think I'd accept that either. A Middle Eastern guy, I think he'd do his part as far as providing and such, but I do think he'd be abusive. You get what I'm saying? And so then that brings me to the Asian guy. And out of this neutral category, in a way, I would put him at the top. In a certain way, I would put him at the top of the neutral category. In fact, in some ways, I would actually say that Asian men top the average white man, not the top of white men, but I think the top Asian men do top the average of white men. And then there's ways where they're almost the worst of all men, including black men. And so the top is what I think everybody already figured out when I'm going this is that I've never met a lazy Asian guy. I've never met an Asian guy that doesn't have a job, even if he's a total anime nerd and stuff like that. He still goes to work, does his job, goes to school, makes his money. Like he does that. And so in that way, I think like as far as being productivity and contributing to society, nobody can really say anything bad against this group of guys. Like I said, they actually top a lot of white guys, even like our lesser garbage white guys, like our white trash guys. But then again, even white trash guys work. So maybe I shouldn't say that. But I will say that I don't think Asian men. I don't really have too much negative to say about Asian men. The one thing I will level at them is that they are not masculine. And they're arguably, on a surface level, they would appear to be the least masculine men. Once you have a more comprehensive understanding and you really know what you're talking about, you know that it's black men. But on a surface level, they seem to be the least masculine men. And one thing is their features, like they just have soft feminine features, and that's not even like they can't control that. But more, I'm also talking about who they are. And just every Asian guy I've ever met he's either a shit talking little punk, which is just try hard energy, just yappy chihuahua behind the fence type thing, or he's a very introvert, recessive, submissive kind of guy. I've never met a single Asian guy that isn't one or the other, either a shit talking punk or a submissive kind of girly boy. That right there would be the only thing that would make me hesitant to like have my daughter like go out with an Asian guy, is I don't want her to be with some submissive little quiet girly boy, but I don't want her to be with some shit talking, kind of punk. Like if anybody ever saw the movie Gran Torino, I don't know if everybody's seen that movie, but the kind of Asian guys that you'll see in that movie is the punk thing. Honestly, it's like they try to be black guys, just smug, bad little fucking attitude. And then the other one is just very soft, girly guy. Like that's I think a lot of people, used to black men's false bravado might be thinking about the soft girly guy and be like, oh, I'll take it. Short term, yes, it's less trouble than the black guy, but you do not want a soft girly man. That this is not a dependable guy. Um, you can depend on him to, earn, but that's about it. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of warrior energy here. Um, even like something anime has done to fool people is like thinking that samurai swords are something badass. The reason samurai swords are skinny is not so they can be super agile and do all this fake shit that you see in anime. The reason samurai swords are so thin is because Asian men couldn't handle a bigger sword. That is what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like all the shit you see in movies that people can do with katanas, that's fake. Um, Now people think katanas kind of look cool, but the reason they're smaller is because smaller people were using them because they weren't big and strong enough to use the European kind of swords. So you'd
Exactly,
see,
because most European men are bigger than Asian men. So yeah.
oh no, Asian men are the physically most inferior group of men, but and that's bar none. Like even black men, like physically the least inferior group of men, but then mentally speaking, black men have proven to be the lowest IQs on the planet. In fact, the gap between black men and black women's IQ is the biggest gap out of any gender race combo. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like white,
correct.
yeah, like white men, white women, like they're generally about the same. Just depending on the study you look at, it'll show white men being slightly higher or white women being slightly higher. But black men and black women, you do the IQ test. Black women are far smarter than black men, and it's just not even close. And no other race has this same IQ gap that black men have. Like it's fucking insane. Like I really wonder what the hell is up with that. Like why, like you look at any other race and it's men and women are separated by like 10 points and it could skew either male or female favor. But black women, it skews like 60 points in favor of black women. But but again, so like in
No,
this thing,
that I think that kind of explains why I can just talk about my personal experiences with black men, and I think that's why we don't get along with them, unfortunately. Because
yeah.
yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna look at the live chat real quick
Mhm.
before I continue. So, uh, hi Kevin Samuels. KB. Everybody keeps asking this. No, I don't have a channel yet. I'm thinking more and more about it, but no, I don't. K Beauty. Um, let's see. Bunch of people saying hi to all y'all. Um, they dress themselves in clown attire. Yeah, that's something is like also. I feel like I talk about this so much, and I want to talk about all. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Unfortunately, we had a little
Sorry, it
yeah.
looks like I can't tab out. Hold on,
Mm-hmm.
let me try something where
Mm-hmm.
I pull up this YouTube feed on my on a different device,
That's fine.
and that way I can look out. Because I guess when I tab out for too long,
Mm-hmm.
um, I guess when I tab out for too long, the my audio cuts out.
No problem. No
Yeah,
problem.
I was referring to all these comments. All right, so there we go. Back to the live chat. All right, now we can hear you. We can't hear you. Black men drop out of high school. Well, yeah. Um, so when I'm talking about the Gran Torino thing, so like you have those like kind of ghetto Asian guys, but then you have maybe you need to be in a more multicultural area. Like I'm in a very multicultural city, and you'll have to I guess interact with more Asian men to see it, and is that like there's this soft girly kind of Asian guy, and I swear I've never seen an Asian guy that isn't that or the other thing. Like there's a guy at my job, and like he's got just that little man complex, and the fact is Asian guys for the most part are little guys, and so they for the most part have that little man complex. But I try not to attack with I try not to attack people for things that they can't control, like height or something like that. But but I mean, like I said, it needs to be said. They are the smallest, they are the weakest of men. I know they can control that. I'm not trying to bag on them too hard when I say that, but it is the truth. And there's nothing to be gained by not saying that. So someone says, like, what about Jet Li? Like what about Jet Li? Like, what is he, like 5'2" or something? And the fact is something that people there's true combat. You get what I'm saying? Like you actually do these martial arts, even the martial arts that Asian men invented, like jujitsu. You know what I'm saying? Um, and so like Japanese guys made jujitsu. You wrestle with Asian guys, and any race of man that has the same technique as that Asian guy is going to win because they're these small, skinny little guys. You know what I'm saying? Like something that people like. I remember people talking about Bruce Lee versus Muhammad Ali, thinking that Bruce Lee would win because um, kung fu movies show him doing this shit. But the fact is, like, if a 5'2" guy kicks you in the side of the head, it'll hurt, but not as much as if a 5'10" guy does it. Like that's just a fact of the matter. And that martial arts is not some magical mystical power that exclusively Asian men have access to that can turn anybody into Batman. You get what I'm saying? Like Batman's Batman because he's big and strong and knows that shit. But if you're a skinny little guy, then it doesn't matter. And I'm not even necessarily talking about height so much as I'm talking about just girth more, like how wide a guy is, not fat wide, but how wide a guy is contributes to his strength a lot more than how tall he is. And Asian guys, even when they're very fit, they're always lean, they're always skinny. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, like I'm sorry that action movies have made people believe a different thing, but no, like even to this day, martial arts, like you watch UFC or something like that, we are divided by gender and weight class for a reason. You get what I'm saying? And the idea, like people talking about Bruce Lee versus Muhammad Ali, that's Muhammad Ali. Zero fucking contest. Anybody who argues with that doesn't know fighting, has never truly been in a fight. If you think Bruce Lee stands a snowball's chance in hell against Muhammad Ali, because one hit from Ali, Bruce Lee's out. And he would connect that hit because a lot of this shit that people think Bruce Lee can do, he actually can't. Like I remember there was this commercial where Bruce Lee's using nunchucks to play ping pong and people believe this shit's real. And it's not. And even if it was real, so the fuck what? How does that help you beat Muhammad Ali? It doesn't. Like Muhammad Ali would just wreck Bruce Lee, zero contest. And now I'm not even trying to insult Bruce Lee or Jet Li or any of these guys when I say that. It's just reality. You know what I'm saying? It's just every bit as stupid. Like I remember something so fucking stupid. I had to turn the movie off as I was watching this X-Men movie, and Jennifer Lawrence hit this huge Russian guy in the chin with her elbow, and then the guy just falls out. That's bullshit. First off, that's not even a real fucking move. And second off, even if it was, sorry, like no girl is going to knock out a guy with a single strike to the elbow. That's just, I mean, with a single strike to his chin. That's just not going to happen. And the same thing happens, with Asian guys, is like, this kung fu shit and anime and stuff like that has made people think that they're a more physically dangerous group of guys than they actually are. The reason most martial arts come from Asian countries is because they need things like leverage to win fights because they can't win them without them. You know what I'm saying? Like the Greeks made boxing and wrestling. Those are the martial arts that come from. Well, that's my point, is that X-Men's fake, but that's one of the things that are fake in X-Men. But boxing and wrestling come from the Greeks, right? And these are two martial arts that rely on power. So there's technique in boxing and wrestling, but there's also power. And to be a successful boxer, or to be a successful wrestler, you need the technique. You need the bob and weave in boxing. You need the proper grappling points and such in wrestling. But you also need power. See, like someone's talking about like Genghis Khan. Yeah, Genghis Khan was an Asian guy fighting other Asian guys. You know what I'm saying? Like an Asian guy trumping other Asian guys doesn't prove Asian men to be dominant and tough over other races and men. You get what I'm saying? Like that's no disrespect to Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan was the toughest guy in his area, but that's in his area. You know what I'm saying? If Genghis Khan and his Mongolians would have fought Julius Caesar and his Romans, the Mongolians would have been wiped the fuck out. And that's, I'm sorry for anybody that really likes Genghis Khan. I'm not backing on Genghis Khan when I say that. That's simply the fact of the matter. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why, like, you see Greek statues of people wrestling and everything. Like the Greeks created wrestling and the Greeks created boxing because, and I'm sure some other race of guys would like to think like, oh, we made that. Like, yeah, sure, you did. But this is why Asian martial arts never have a reliance on power, is because they physically don't have any. It's all about leverage. So I'm not trying to insult anybody. It just is what it is. And there's no advantage to anybody. People talking about Genghis Khan again. Like, yeah, nah, Genghis Khan, like I said, this was an Asian guy fighting other Asian guys. You know what I'm saying? And this is not it. And again, I'm not really trying to bag on Asian guys the most part, but like, you get me the top Mongolian wrestler. Okay. And then I will give you the top Greek wrestler, and I will bet everything I have ever owned that the Greek guy will win. because that is 100% safe bet.
Well,
So no,
that makes sense. That definitely makes sense with my experiences with all groups of men. So, yeah. So, yeah.
like I said, just because like I can tell people like are talking about talking about, and like I said, I'm not trying to bag on Asian guys unless for, but you get what I'm saying. But the reason why like a lot of martial arts come from Asian countries is because they had to use things like most martial arts that you can think of. You may even think Asian as soon as you think martial arts, because almost all the martial arts come from Asian countries. The reason why is because they require leverage and stupid shit like this to win. You know what I'm saying? But the Romans, the Greeks or Romans, which would be the Greeks and Italians of today, like they made the martial arts that depend on power. You know what I'm saying? To where technique was important, but being a big, strong guy was too. But being a big, strong guy, you just don't see that in Asians simply because, regardless of what anyone says, they just don't have that. You know what I'm saying?
I just feel like for me, what I see from they're just not built like that.
No, they're not, and that's why like their whole culture, unfortunately, revolves around that. You get what I'm saying? Like their swords are smaller because they are smaller. Their martial arts use leverage instead of power because they don't have power. Um, their armor, like samurai armor, is more like woven fabric than it is metal because that was too heavy for them to wear. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something again that you don't see in media too much is what samurai armor actually looked like. For the most part, they just show people walking around wearing kimonos, swinging swords. But samurai armor, it was nothing compared to even Roman armor, which was older than samurai armor. And because it's not that Asian guys couldn't come up with that. That's not the case here. That's the case with black men for a lot of things. It's not the case with Asian men that they couldn't come up with it. It's that they couldn't physically endure it. And that's why samurai armor looks the way it does, is so that these littler guys had armor that they could wear. On top of the fact that because they can't swing as heavy swords, they weren't blocking as heavy weaponry. You know what I'm saying? But no, it's a fact. It's just an objective fact that these are the smallest, weakest guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not pretend like the average Japanese guy isn't at best 5'6". You know what I'm saying? I recall looking that up once, and it said the Japanese, like average Japanese male height is 5'6". You know what I'm saying? Um, and 5'6" over here amongst white men, like everybody gives you shit. And again, I don't like fucking with people about things that you can't control. Like I understand a 5'6" guy, no amount of diet, no amount of exercise, no amount of surgery can even make you taller. So I really don't like to fuck with people about birth defects, about height, about birthmarks, about anything like that. I don't like to bully people for things that they can't control. But it is a fact that Asian men are the smallest men. Nothing to be gained by denying that. And yeah, it just is what it is. So, you got anything, bro?
Not necessarily. I do got something. I want you to answer this comment right here. Look at what we have here. We got a West Ethiopian here. Look at that.
I mean, like you were gonna have some pussy bleeding in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even like as soon as I'm picking out who the non-white men are in the comments here, and I just skip right over anything they have to say.
Yeah, I know, right? And look,
They,
we got another one right here too. Look at this.
No, I don't give a fuck. Like, fuck him, man. I'm not listening to that. And like something else I noticed, like all like non-white men like to do. Black men are the worst about it. Is like they like to just make shit up, just straight up make shit up. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the thinking that like they'll do something, like it's just like, oh, like we actually made such and such. You know, like I'm sure like somebody will find some half white, half Asian guy and talk about something he did and be like, yeah, there you go. Like that, like this half white Asian guy is like a world renowned bodybuilder. It's like, yeah, bro. And you know which half is making him do that. So shut up. You know what I'm saying? Um, but that's something like, again, this is another thing that like all non-white races of men like to do is whenever they have a half white, half anything guy, they like to, whenever that guy does something successful, they like to claim that other half, right? So let's say like a half white, half Asian guy became an Olympic wrestler and won. They'd be like, oh, that's an Asian guy that won. Like, yeah, but he's half white. And there's a reason why this half white, half Asian guy is the one that's the top of his Asian wrestling team. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is what it is. Like whenever a half white, half black guy invents something, like a half white, half black guy wrote the Three Musketeers. Fun fact. And people like to say that a black man wrote the Three Musketeers. No, a biracial man, a half white, half black man, wrote the Three Musketeers. But people like to say that a black guy wrote the Three Musketeers. You get what I'm saying? But I also just, I was like, this is mean, but we just got to say what it is. Say, what is it that's different about this half black guy versus all these fully black guys that made somebody write a fucking book? You get what I'm saying? It's the fact that he's half white. That's it. Like it's his white half that wrote the Three Musketeers. Sorry, like there's no benefit in pretending otherwise. You know what I'm saying? And so you'll find, like Asian guys do this too. Is it's like whenever a white guy goes over there, has sex with an Asian girl, and then they have a half white kid. That half white kid is going to be taller than all his peers, more handsome than all his peers, and everybody talks about like, oh, there's a good, big, strong Asian guy. Like, no, that's a white guy that had an Asian mom. You know what I'm saying? But like the fact that this guy had a white parent is the thing that's making him different than all of his peers. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the thing that made this one black guy write Three Musketeers versus all his black peers who, didn't, was the fact that he had a white father, and that's what made him smarter than his peers. Sorry. There's no benefit in lying about that kind of thing. I see people talking about ethnicity here. My father is French, and my mom is Italian and Greek. My
Sorry
mom's
about that,
features.
Benson. I'm having some technical issues. I think Yard Stream don't like this conversation.
That's fine. So the Italian and Greek dominate my features. I think a little more than the French thing. I'm like pale and like smooth skinned like French, but the Italian and Greek is what dominates like my eyes and nose and hair and everything more. I do speak a little French, yeah. So, but yeah, no, I'm 100% white. Like I've had my DNA tested. I have nothing else in me, not even a 0.00001% chance of anything else in me. So now that you're back, yeah, I do speak a little French. I'm not fluent in French, if that's what you guys are asking, but no. So anyway, hello, yes to you too, Faith. Um, we can go to the next slide or whatever, unless you had anything else you wanted to say here or talk about here.
Oh, well, what about the high one?
Um, I mean, like I said, it's just like, like whenever people complain about us running the world, like it's not like we just magically landed out of the sky into places. You know what I'm saying? That's not what happened. What happened is every race but white and Asian were living like fucking cavemen. And I guess Persians. Every race but white, Asian, and whatever group Persians will like to call themselves. I guess we'll call them Middle Eastern since modern Middle Easterns come from them. Had not built any kingdoms, anything. They were just little village people. The reason why white men, it's something that like I noticed that like people like to say is like white men are the only ones that went around conquering. First off, no, we're not. You know what I'm saying? Like we talked about Genghis Khan a little bit ago. Genghis Khan did that. You know what I'm saying? Like he only did it to other Asian people because that's the only people when he was roaming the world that he ever ran into.
I don't mean to cut you off, Vincent, but I just want to say this. Every male group has conquered other men, but for whatever reason, your group seems to be a lot better at it.
Well, that's because we're just better. You know what I'm saying? And
that's what I've been saying. But,
I'm sorry that makes sense, but like, but if the Romans fought the samurais, the Romans would absolutely fucking stop. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry that some kung fu movie or some anime has taught you otherwise, but if the Romans fought the samurai, the Romans would absolutely fucking destroy them.
Absolutely, because they were so much bigger than them. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, well, we're bigger than them, or we had a more organized like military unit than them. Something that that people need to understand too is something about samurais, because samurais, most people don't know what the fuck they're talking about when it comes to samurais. Is like I said, they just watch them in movies, and that's kind of what they get from them. Samurais were double duty as soldiers and as basically policemen. Therefore, like legionnaires in the Roman military were made to be military, were made to go around whooping ass, taking names. You know what I'm saying? Samurais were, and this isn't even necessarily a bad thing, I don't think, but it's just a thing, is what you would call today a cop and what you would call today a soldier. A samurai was both. And I don't mean this, and this isn't necessarily a good thing, because you've heard you've heard the expression "jack of all trades, a master of none." Like samurais weren't true fucking warriors, like they're depicted as in entertainment. They were warriors. I'm not going to take that from them. They were warriors, but even like little civil disputes, like, hey, I sold 3 apples today and the guy shortchanged me. Like it was a samurai's job to go handle that. You know what I'm saying? And so the idea that these samurais were just out here fucking shit up, just whooping ass all over the fucking place, is simply not true. You get what I'm saying? It's just not like they for the most part. Also, for what people have to understand is samurais come from Japan. Japan is an island, and during the time of samurais, they didn't really have to fight that much, like that many wars, because they were a fucking island. You know what I'm saying? Like people didn't go attack Japan because it was a fucking island. You had to get a boat to go to Japan, and you had to even know of Japan's existence back then. So samurais were not these badass motherfuckers. Like they're tough guys. Like I'm not going to say they're not tough guys. They're tough guys, but they were more. They were closer to cops than they were to soldiers. And that's not. I don't even mean that as a bad thing. It's just the truth. Is that samurai were closer to cops. They were closer to the police than they were to soldiers. Um, but white men, like any like truly known from like legionnaires from Rome, Spartans from Sparta, knights from France and Britain, any of these would beat the shit out of a samurai. Art of Aries, like yeah, you're right, like you're 100% right. Is and and anime's fun and stuff. Like I grew up on Dragon Ball Z, and I'm really thankful that I grew up on Dragon Ball Z because of the themes of masculinity and family that are present in Dragon Ball Z. If I had a son, I would make him watch that show, and that comes from an Asian culture, and that's why after white, Asian is the one I would put at the top. I'm really not trying to bag on them too hard. Um, they are the ones I would put at the top. But you got to understand that, the way samurais are depicted in anime, the way Dragon Ball Z is, this is not the way the average anime Asian guy is, not by a damn sight. So, white men, we show up. Like, again, like the only reason why white men didn't conquer Asian countries too is because we never went over there. But if we wanted to, we could. You know what I'm saying? Like the one time Asian guys tried to do this, and the time Asian guys tried to get into the conquering game, they were basically Hitler's lapdog during World War II. An unprovoked attack on America, Pearl Harbor, and it's the Art of Aries. Like, yeah, no, absolutely. Like that is it. It's like anime, I think, depicts masculine characters and masculine role models, and I think that's good. I'd way rather that than something like Spider-Man, where like this nerd gets bit by a spider and now he can finally stand up to his high school bully. Like I always thought Spider-Man was pussy. But no, the like anime is not actually reflective of Asian men. You get what I'm saying? They're night and day. But anyway, back to the Pearl Harbor thing. So Asians attacked Pearl Harbor like Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. Why? Because that's what Hitler wanted them to do. You know what I'm saying? And never fucking forget, while everybody's out here thinking Japan's all fucking great, is that these were the Nazis' greatest allies. You know what I'm saying? So yes, they've made it yes, they've made it to where like anime's cool and everything, and people like Japan, but you really got to remember that these guys, whenever the Asians got to get into the conqueror game, they basically found a white man to serve. That white man being Adolf Hitler, and then on his behest, they attacked America, who at that time simply wasn't into the war at all. Until then, it was Winston Churchill leading the fight against the Nazis. And then that was Franklin D. Roosevelt. Then he got involved because we had been attacked. We were trying to stay out of it. We had been attacked. And then there's their wussy little Asian bomb that they dropped on Pearl Harbor. So then we dropped our nice big American bomb back on them. And I don't think America should apologize for that. I don't think they should be sorry for that. I think the only thing America did wrong is that our atom bomb hurt civilians in Japan that really had nothing to do with this war. I think that was bad. But besides that, I don't give a fuck. You hit us, we hit you. And I am a firm believer that if you hit me, I hit you back and I hit you back harder. Because why the fuck did you hit me in the first place? So no, and people really need to. Japan has a fun culture and all that stuff, but people really need to stop blowing smoke up Japan's ass all the fucking time. There's, again, like we were talking about anime, and I'm thankful as a child that I had Goku and Vegeta. You get what I'm saying? Vegeta and the animated series Batman, like if anybody knows that Batman from the 90s with like I am vengeance, I am the night, like Vegeta and Batman were pretty much my father figures. But yeah, I'm sorry, like people give Asian countries a lot more credit than they're actually due. You get what I'm saying? And whatever. I'm done with that. So what we have a new slide here, fearless male. That actually kind of the World War II conversation I was having just kind of bleeds right into this shit. You know what I'm saying?
This is based on my theory in how I view things. So I don't have a degree in psychology or anything like that, but this is my view on things and how I view the men that's around me.
So black. Well, I mean, you can look throughout history throughout this, but it's also like I was talking about this. Like when black men fight, what do? They jump, right? They either attack old people, they attack women, they attack children. But whenever they're attacking a man that's about their same age and build, they have to jump him. They never attack him one-on-one. They always have to get people to help them. You get what I'm saying? Like this is like a pack of hyenas attacking a lion. You know what I'm saying? As soon as a black man gets all his little black buddies so they can all get their pussy little asses together to fight a guy bot together, they have already admitted that they are the weaker man. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never thought if I'm about to fight a guy one-on-one that I need to go get 4 friends to help me. You know what I'm saying? What kind of guy does think like that? What kind of guy thinks, man, I'm about to fight a guy. I need help from all my fucking friends. Like you're fighting a boss in a video game. A fucking black guy. You get what I'm saying? No, but like for real, like, and like whenever you're playing like a video game, like an RPG where it's like you have like 4 people or something and you're fighting this one boss, well, that means like if something happened and you could only use one character and fight that boss, you would lose, right? That's why you have all 4 of them. So these black men needing their friends to fight a white guy, that makes me look like I'm the big fucking tough guy. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember when I was a kid and I watched Pokemon, it was like Mewtwo, and people would use like 6 Pokemon at a time.
I've seen it. I've been around it all my life. I get it. And then that's how you get black women like me around. That's called pro-white male leadership. So I get it.
But yeah, you can't, like, I don't know. That right there is like, and black men talk about jumping like it's something to be proud of. Like, you seriously needed, the baby got his whole squad to jump that one Hispanic guy. See, like shit like that. And the baby really sees himself as some big, tough, macho man. But like, you need a group to fight one guy. Even if that one guy loses, he's the tougher guy. You know what I'm saying? Something I'm really fucking tired of. Beautiful Leo Goddess talks about it right here, and she's right, and I'm fucking tired of this. Is these black men that just sit around with their weak ass little asses bitching about us all the fucking time, and we provide for them. You get what I'm saying?
That's your choice.
No, I mean, I really do think that white liberals are too compassionate. And that's the thing, too, is like, I feel like white men are the most compassionate of men. I will say that.
I totally agree with that. I
Yeah.
definitely agree. I say this about male progression. I feel that you had your time where you were what you were, but you have progressed the most as males. I say that 100%. So when Black women needed welfare, you were there. When we needed employment, you guys were there. When we needed protection, which I would say the police, you were there. So I'm not, when we needed housing, you guys were there. So absolutely.
And something like this is kind of a good example of this. I heard somebody talking about this the other day, and I just thought I'd bring it up for anybody here that doesn't know. Is we all know Rosa Parks, right? The lady that wouldn't get up on the bus. So something you may not know is that um, she would be attacked by a lot of people within her own community. And then, of all things, there's this white guy that owned a pizza chain. I believe it was Little Caesars.
Right,
I could be
correct.
wrong.
Yes.
Is it Little Caesars? Okay.
After those Black guys came in and robbed her, they didn't know who she was, so he paid. Yeah, I know about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So he owned Little Caesars and then got her a place, paid for the fucking place, like basically took care of her for the rest of her fucking life. Now, that was great of him. But shit like that, I swear you only ever hear about white men doing. You know what I'm saying? Like this is something that only white men do. And in Rosa Parks' case, that's a great thing. And that guy's a really cool guy for doing that. But white men love to take care of people. You know what I'm saying? No other race. You know what I'm saying? Not black men, not Hispanic men, not Asian men, not Middle Eastern men. Like no other group of men would take care of somebody of a different race like that. Like that's something that not just black men, but all other races of men, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, Asian, is they all have this like kind of tribal mentality. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
This includes Asian men. They do it too. Is they all have this kind of tribal, like racial identity mentality. You get what I'm saying? White men are the only ones that don't do this. This is a big part of what makes white men succeed. I wouldn't, white men don't get where they are because we just help each other out because we got to look for our people. We're white. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to be excellent or you'll simply be left in the past. But this is something too, like all these neutral groups, they too, when they fought wars or whatever, they like to jump. You know what I'm saying? Asian men typically throughout history have avoided conflict. Black men have lost conflict. And in this neutral category, I would say only the Middle Eastern is the guy that's ever actually won conflict. But even then, whenever they tried to go win conflict against somebody outside of their race, like against the Greeks, they ultimately got stomped out. The Greeks won. And that's a big part of why the world is the way it is now. That's the big reason why we speak the language we do. And that's something like 300, the Battle of Thermopylae, that people don't really understand is that was the ultimate in white men beating off a would-be invasion by non-white men. That's the closest anybody ever came, another race ever came just to topping white men was when the Persians were attacking Greece. And then we won anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that other races haven't tried, it's that they haven't been successful. Because the thing is too, is like, let's say Genghis Khan ever left Asia and tried to attack Rome. Well, then he would have got stomped the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Genghis Khan used to live in like this. I can't remember what they called it. Basically, it's like a portable tent, and he had a big version of it. Like he had a really big one, but it was like a portable tent. You know what I'm saying? Um, and the closest he ever came to true like luxury and prestige. Yes, Kevin Samuels. That is what happened with Rosa Parks. They don't advertise that too much because it makes black people look bad. But yes. Anyway, is when he invaded China and then kind of took their shit. But Asian men, what about Native Americans? People tend to forget them. All right, I'll get to them a little bit. But Asian men have typically avoided conflict. The only time they ever got involved in a worldwide conflict is again when they sided with Germany, who was seen as the biggest, toughest kid on the playground at the time, and got their silly little asses beat by America. You get what I'm saying? But this is something I really want to say, because this is something I've seen people like now that people have been reviewing things or whatever. I don't give a fuck when anybody says there were no black kingdoms. All right, I just want to focus on that real quick. I know I'm on the neutral category right now, but it's just something that I really need to reiterate. There were no black kingdoms, okay? They didn't wear fucking crowns. This is them trying to appropriate a white term, crown, to describe their twig and leaf little headdresses, okay? Black men did not have crowns. They were out here living in shit huts, bleeding each other's pussy holes, wearing twigs and leaves on their fucking heads, okay? These are not crowns.
You're so funny, Vincent.
These were not crowns. No, like these were not crowns.
No, it's Vincent. I know that since high school. Like they don't know that, but we'll put the word. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have a link to the word king so they can,
because whenever like
Yeah.
you type king into like your little emoji thing, right? You're gonna see a little face with a crown on it, with a metallic crown with jewels on it. You get what I'm saying? Like nobody else wore this shit but white men. You get what I'm saying? Nobody else. This, like, that's it. Like, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That was a white male thing. No Africans wore a metallic piece of jewelry on their head with jewels in it. That just simply didn't fucking happen. You know what I'm saying? The words like king, crown, and kingdom, these are European words that other groups of men, especially black men, have tried to appropriate. You know what I'm saying? Because they like the stigma that comes with it. So there'll be like what they were chiefs, not kings. You had chiefs, but they like to call that a king. They like to call their village a kingdom. No, it's not. You had a village and you were a chief of a village. You were not a king of a kingdom. You did not have a crown. You have a headdress. The same thing, since somebody asked about Native Americans earlier, that happened there is all these British settlers came to America with their guns and their ships and their clothes and their everything, only to find a bunch of guys fucking living in teepees with headdresses. You get what I'm saying? There were no Native American kings. They were Native American chiefs. They had tribes. And the same thing there is, it's like, I really think that that white men seem to be the only group interested in leadership. I will say that because something that all these other groups seem to have in common is that they were a divided people until white men showed up. And that's the very biggest part as to why white men have conquered every country that they ever felt like conquering, is because it was white men. Like the history books like to paint it like it was white men versus the Native Americans. It wasn't. It was white men. It was white men versus the Cherokee versus the Apache versus the Comanche. Like, this is how it was, is they weren't a unified people. Okay. All right. I'll address this one. Normally I ignore shit like that, but I'll address this one. Summertime, honey, you're saying I don't know what I'm talking about. What don't I know?
No problem, Vincent.
Oh, I see. I thought you were saying I don't know what I'm talking about. My bad. All right. No. No, we're cool. We're cool. We're cool. I misunderstood. That's my mistake. You're fine. But the thing is too is it's like I think every non-white man wants to be top dog. And so of course every guy, including white men, on some level in him wants to be top dog. But the fact is, if you have a home, and you have a wife and you have kids, you can already be a king in your own life. You get what I'm saying? And I really want every guy and every woman and everybody listening to me to understand that is that you have the potential to be a king within 10 years, no matter who you are, by simply having a home, having a woman, and having children. You now have, a man's home is his castle, like the king of his castle. Like this is true. And you can be the king of your own castle, whoever you are. And black men simply don't have an interest in this. You know what I'm saying? And the fact is, even like every Roman legionnaire, like all the Spartans that weren't named Leonidas, okay, or the other Spartan kings, but I'm saying him because he's, of course, the biggest one that everybody knows. They still went home and they were kings, Spartan kings, in their homes. Even if they weren't the king of their society, they were the king of their homes. You know what I'm saying? And so even if you're a car mechanic, cool. As a society, we need car mechanics. You know what I'm saying? And there is no shame in being a car mechanic or a garbage disposable or anything like that. These are jobs that we as a society need. What white men understand is that you do this job and then you are still a king in your home. You have a castle and you are the king of that castle. What black men don't understand is that they have no interest in being a king in their own castle. Rather, they want to be king of at least the hood, at least the ghetto that they're in. And they all want to be like that. And so basically, you have a neighborhood of 50 kings, which means you ultimately don't have any. You get what I'm saying? This is something that black men don't seem to understand. I think white men understand it the most, and I think black men understand it the least, is that every man can be a king in his home. You get what I'm saying? Like if somebody comes in the house and they're disrespecting the kids or disrespecting the wife, you're the king of that castle, man. Get them the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? You could also, sorry, this isn't a private. I was going to say something else, but we talked about this. And if I say certain things, this has to be put on Patreon instead, and it can't stay on YouTube because I'm not allowed to say certain things. So I was going to say something else, but I can't say it. I'll think about it another time. Whenever she tells me we're making a video that's definitely going to go on Patreon, I'll remember that point I was about to make. But black men, but even in prison, like ultimately, you're not the king of the prison. The warden is the king of the prison. Because I'm seeing people taught that. Our white men taught that explicitly. Kind of. We're not. Some white families do. Some white families don't. But still. You get what I'm saying? Like, I am the king of my castle. You get what I'm saying? And as a man, if you have a home and you have a woman and you have a thing and you have kids, there you go. You know what I'm saying? Like this is where white men started calling their daughters princess, is because she is our princess. Well, if she's a princess and I'm her father, what does that make me? You get what I'm saying?
Right. That means
and
you're
I do
a king.
remember that is like we were at a family get together and my wife, whose brother, who's a black guy, was was arguing with her about something. I'm not going to get into what the whole argument was about, but basically he talked to her in a way that I didn't like, and I told him, fucking, there's only one person in this house that gets to argue with my wife, and that's me. Everybody else respect the queen. And that was my exact terminology. Everybody else respect the queen. The reason why, like, I talk like this is because this is my fucking house. And under this roof, I am king. You know what I'm saying? And it really doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter what job you are. You can be a doctor, you can be a car mechanic, you can be a garbage worker, you can be a car salesman. Like, I don't fucking care what you are, man. You can be the king in your home. You know what I'm saying? No matter who you are, you can be the king in your home. All it takes for you to be a king is to have a home, find a woman you like, put her in there, fucking have some kids. They're your princes and princesses, and there you go. You know what I'm saying? You're now the king of your kingdom. But black men don't want to do this, and so and because they don't do this, because they don't have that confidence that comes from truly being a king rather than talking about being one, they never became a unified people. So instead, they all wanted to be a king. They thought that there could only be one king in the entire country instead of being kings of their homes. And so, black men, Native Americans, fucking Hispanic people, like all these guys, they were never unified in the way white men are. You get what I'm saying? I understand that I'm the king of my home. So I go out so say like you're the king of your home, but then you're like a car mechanic. Now you may not be the king there. You know, you may not own the garage that you work at, but that's fine. You know, no car garage can only have a single fucking mechanic in it, and we all need a leader. You're not less of a man for not being the one that owns the car garage. You're a cool guy. We need car mechanics. I love car mechanics. They're good guys for the most part, I feel, you know. And I'm just using car mechanic as an example. Like this applies to most fields of work. I'm just using car mechanic as an example. But then, you know, we're unified in that, right? Like car mechanic A, B, C, D, and the leader, like the guy that owns the garage, you know, he's the king, I guess, at that garage. But eventually he answers to somebody too. You know what I'm saying? But all five of them, the guy that owns that garage and the four guys that work under him, all go home to their houses. And at their houses, they are kings of their kingdoms. What black men don't understand is that they want to be the king. They want to be like president. You know what I'm saying? Anything less than that, they can't be a king. And therefore, they could be the kings of their own homes, but they simply don't want to be. You know what I'm saying? Besides white men, I would actually think maybe even more than white men. I think the race of men that understands this concept the most is Middle Eastern. I know we talked about the domestic abuse and everything, and I'm not taking away from that, but just as far as the kingdom,
Absolutely.
I think Middle Eastern men understand this actually the best of all demographics, is the idea that a man can be a king in his home, even if you're not a king elsewhere. And because the thing is, you have to understand is like what black men don't seem to understand is that, you know, how many countries exist on Earth, right? Just for a number, we'll say 50. I know that's wrong because I think Africa alone has more than that, but just for a number, we'll say 50. That means there can only be 50 kings. You get what I'm saying? Something else I'd like to point out, and this includes Asian society, because I know that after white men, that seems to be the favorite. And I agree that after white men, Asian men are the top. But I am including them in this criticism, is that white societies had a tradition of having their leaders fight the fight with them. Like King Leonidas at the Battle of 300, he was right there next to him with a sword and shield next to him, fighting with them. You know what I'm saying? European kings are known to have swords. They're known to be retired soldiers, retired knights. You know what I'm saying? This is throughout white history, is the world leader, like the white world leaders, are either current or retired warriors. America has had one black president, and all he was some bussy boy in college. He never had a military career. He doesn't come from a bad background. He's just a pussy boy. And that's the one black president we've ever had. You know what I'm saying? White society has always been that the king either fights in the war. I understand why that may not be a good idea. It's a respectable idea. It's objectively speaking not a good idea that your world leader could get killed at any time. But fucking white leaders have always either been current warriors or retired warriors. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it was until like Donald Trump that we had like a white guy that didn't have a service record, or
Right.
rather a conservative white guy that didn't have a service record. But even then, like he comes from a world of finance, so while he wasn't fighting physical wars, like I do think he knew his shit as far as improving an economy. I think at this point nobody can say that that's not true.
Well, you see, the thing with Donald Trump is Donald Trump wasn't a politician. He wasn't a president. He was a businessman. I think that,
and I think that
was
really
the first time. I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I think that was the first time we had a businessman in office. So
yeah,
that's the difference. He wasn't a president. He wasn't a politician. He was a businessman, and he understood.
Real quick, Alana, no, you probably are right about that. No, I don't think Reagan served. So, like, I'm sure there are exceptions, but for the most part, like our white conservative presidents have all been in the military. There will be exceptions. Reagan's one, Trump is one, but Trump I thought was a fantastic president, like amazing, like just as far as getting shit done and everything. I really wish he would have watched his mouth a little more. Like he acted in a way that made it easy for the media to paint him as a villain. But as far as signing the right papers and getting shit done, best president of my lifetime. He really was fantastic. He talked too much shit, but he really was fantastic. And that right there goes to show just the problem with fucking just these stupid little grab ass who you know not what you know type games that every other politician likes to play. But anyway, back on more topical things. So feared male. So black men would probably like to think of themselves as the most feared because we always
funny.
Well, they do, like, because like you see black guys walking around and you lock your doors because you'd rather a bunch of HIV ridden illiterate fucking fools not break into your house and steal all your shit.
Listen, it's all an illusion.
Yeah, it's just because whenever people lock their doors and black guys come around, it's not because we're scared of you taking our shit. It's because we know you're the most likely to do so. You know what I'm saying? And like, it is fucking weird that like, here comes this uneducated, stupid motherfucker that has HIV or something like that because of his, DL activities and can't read and shit, probably breaking into your fucking house. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean a white man isn't capable of breaking your house. I'm sure I could rob a house better than a black guy, but I'm also a shitload less likely to do so. You get what I'm saying? But like black men, like this is why they have to rob. Like the actual story with George Floyd that maybe a lot of people don't know is, I think we've talked about this before. Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. Is the fact that like what he had a record for.
I'm sorry to cut you off, Vincent, but I have a problem here. I have a problem with David H. He did leave some. Yeah, look at this. I think that, there we go. There we go. Just putting it out there for you white men to know what you guys should do and what you need to do, because they're putting it out there what you should do. There you go. It's right there.
I mean, so that's simply not true. Jumping is slang that comes from black men. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think like just like this, like feared male. Like, of course, white men are the most feared because like black men see a white man, and it's not an old guy, it's not a child. Like, whenever a 25-year-old black man sees a 25-year-old white man and he wants to fight, he has to get his fucking friends. They never fight an equivalent male one on one. You know what I'm saying? Reagan served in the army. I didn't know that. Okay, so then yeah, I guess Trump's the first. Anyway, like whenever a white man, like if I were going to fight a black guy, I wouldn't be like, oh man, let me go get like 5 of my fucking friends. You know what I'm saying? But like you see these videos all the time. Black men love jumping. They love it. They love it. They love it. They love it. You know what I'm saying? But like if I were to go fight a black guy, I wouldn't go round up 5 of my fucking friends. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just not how I do things. That's not how white men do things. I will answer this is someone's talking about the KKK. So the KKK, they saw themselves as, and let me just say this before anybody gets traumatic here.
Listen, let's not talk about that because that could be a trick. Yeah, let's not. Yeah, it's all right.
All right. One day on a Patreon on a private, I'll address that. One day I'll talk about them. Just so everybody understands, no, I don't agree with them. No, I don't endorse them. Blah, 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 blah. Like, no. Before anybody gets dramatic on me, no, I'm not about that shit. But
yeah, sometimes
I can't talk about that here.
The comment section, it's all right. Yeah,
because if anybody noticed, that last video got edited down to 25 minutes. And the reason that happened is actually I feel like a 2-hour long conversation. But I was saying some things that were flagging some things and blah, blah, blah. And that's why that 2-hour video is now edited down to 25 minutes. And the full video is on her Patreon is because this bussy bleeding boys and YouTube like to report and shit. And, you know, we can't get reported and stuff. So there's some things there's some things, believe it or not, I do hold back sometimes when I'm talking on here. And that's one of the things I got to hold back on.
You said bussy bleeding.
I say that all the time, but like, because that's what they're doing. Like even this guy, like you just talked about, David H, is like, what's he doing?
Trust me,
like, he's out
they
here,
haven't seen nothing yet. I mean,
he's out here bleeding out of his pussy so hard that he was like, man, like I'm gonna, you know what I'm about to do with my free time is I'm about to go on YouTube and find people that don't like me and go in their fucking YouTube thing and argue with them. You know what I'm saying? Because women are not attracted to him because he has no money to make and he just has no obligations. So he's out here just showing off his beta male behavior for the world to see on the internet. You get what I'm saying? But anyway, what's this global power? That's no fucking contest at all. That's no contest at all. Asian men have China, and then that's fucking it. Yeah, that's no contest at all as far as global power. That's white men first, that's Asian men second. I'd put Middle Eastern third, and then Black and Hispanic men. Hispanic I'd put fourth, and then Black men at the very fucking bottom. But that's no contest at all. Except for Asian men, nobody but white men even have global power. And fucking Asian men, the only country that I think Japanese has a lot of power through entertainment. We've been talking about that. But even then, that's not, I wouldn't call that power. And then,
right.
And even then, even if we were, that doesn't top Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Not that I'm a fan of Hollywood, but it doesn't top Hollywood. And then China through economics. And what people really need to do, this is a huge thing that we haven't talked about with Asian people. Yeah, y'all buckle in, anybody that wants to defend that group, is with the fucking child labor. No. Nope. They're actually, I think, the worst demographic on earth about child labor. Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Oh, fuck no. That shit is absolutely
Asian,
not
right?
fucking
Right.
okay.
Chinese,
Yeah, Asian,
China.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
absolutely. Yeah.
no, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. No,
Absolutely.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, 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 no.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that
I
is so
understand their
not fucking
concept.
okay.
Yeah, it's not okay, but I understand their concept because if you want to make money quickly and fast to build something, that's what you would have to do. So I understand what they're doing, but it's unethical. And unfortunately, being that I run two businesses, unfortunately there's certain things you have to do that's unethical. That's just what it is. And I'm a black
That
woman
shit
saying
is
that.
that shit's still not
So
okay though. As far as just um j- what is it, like human rights, like HR, human resources, whatever the fuck you want to call it, like fucking Asian men are the absolute fucking worst. They're even worse than black men about that. Um,
absolutely.
the emotional
Yeah.
abuse that they subject their children to, like, what, you got a 93 instead of a 100, what happened to the other seven? Man, you fucking suck. um like, no. And just the fact that Asian men have such an astronomical suicide, that Asian children have such an astronomical suicide rate because of the stupid fucked up like standards that their parents hold them to. And I understand, like, you not wanting your kid to be a fuck up, and I understand um and I understand you not wanting your kids to be slackers. I get that. I fully understand that. I fully get that. But pushing your kid to the point of suicide, fuck no. You know what I'm saying? No, this is a huge, huge, huge thing that we need to call Asian men out on. Um, and also what? So like we got our bussy bleeding boys over here. Like who's that fucking guy? He's not even black. He's half black, but football player that just thought he did something, thought he was the next Martin Luther King or something because he kneeled during the pledge. What's his name?
Oh, Kaepernick.
Yeah, Colin Kaepernick. That's it. Yeah, Colin Kaepernick, and he's out here like he's doing the damn thing while a bunch of dirty, sweaty, mistreated, poor little Asian kids are being forced by the adults in their lives to work at factories and make the shoes that he's endorsing. You know what I'm saying? And I really want you to think about that. I really want everybody to think about that. Is whenever these black guys are talking about how they're oppressed, endorsing fucking shoes, that these little Asian kids are being mistreated and forced to make the fucking shoes. You know what I'm saying? Um, yeah, if you have the whoever you are, if you have the option to buy shoes, please buy American. In fact, if you have the option to get anything not made in China, because on the other end of that made in China thing is some dirty little Asian kid that's being forced to work. And oh my God, now I'm really thinking about that. I'm really getting mad about it. Yeah, I think I gave Asian men maybe a little bit too much credit earlier, because this is a huge thing. And they, except for certain parts in Africa, Asian men are the only group that are truly guilty of this. Um, Man, now I'm really getting fucking mad now that I'm actually thinking about the child labor stuff. Let me calm down. Um, okay.
Don't
Cool.
worry, Vincent. We'll discuss that on another live. But yeah,
Yeah. That maybe that
unfortunately,
needs to be a. Okay, cool. So, but is Haiti? Well, I didn't say that black countries don't do it too, but Asian people are the worst. Every single fucking time you buy something and you say made in China, they like that's how they do it. Is they pay
yeah,
kids less than minimum wage so that they can build this bullshit for other people. But fucking yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, fuck Asian guys. Now that I'm remembering the child labor thing. Um, yeah, you really got to understand. Like, what is it? China? Was it China once where it's like you're only allowed to have two kids or something, or like I remember at some point they had
one
little.
kid, because they were overpopulated. But that was like, I think that was like 20, maybe 25 years ago now, if I'm not
It was
mistaken.
something like, and I remember they had like little girls like strapped to toilets. like so that they could just pee and poop in the toilet, but like they weren't allowed to be with their families or something like that because of population and stuff, like some bullshit. And I remember it was something they would only do to girls instead of guys. I'll have to look that up, but yeah, everybody can go ahead and stop fucking stop with this shit. Anyway, but as far as global power, that's white men, bar and none, zero contest. And then Asians would be second, and then Middle Easterns would be third because they're showing out in a major way. I actually gotta kind of respect them the way they are showing out. Like they basically just got annoyed America out of the Middle East recently. And then Hispanic men, and then black men at the very bottom, as per usual. So now we're on to provider and protector. Again, I don't think that's a contest. I think black men are at the very bottom, and it seems like they want that. You know, on one hand, they want to be offended by that, but I don't know why. You know, they want that. Whenever a woman talks about provider and protector, the black man argues with her. You get what I'm saying? He argues like, "Why you got to do that? You can't get a job," like that kind of thing. Black men long term have destroyed the economy, and not just through welfare and stuff like that, but more the fact that because they because they support, like I said, like the average black guy, if you asked him if he's a feminist, he'd say no, and he'd be like super fucking pissed off and like fuck no. But like they actually do. In fact, black men are the most feminist of men because they like women to work. They like women to do their own thing. They like women to be independent. You know what I'm saying? He just wants to sit on the couch and watch ESPN and call the shots while he does all those things. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, but oh God, Jesus. I love this picture you chose because that honestly is like the typical black guy.
I mean, this is reality. It's nothing, let's see what's going on here in the chat. David H. Yeah.
I don't care about him. They let him bleed his pussy hole somewhere else.
Black men created everything in this country and it was stolen from us. Well, guess
this
what?
idea that like black men, first off,
listen,
even
if that's true, it didn't matter to you. So if someone is so take it from you easily, then nobody cares about it. So you didn't give a fuck about it. So get off.
Every worthwhile invention in the history of mankind, like everything that we use every day, was made by a white or an Asian man. You know what I'm saying? Mostly white, but if not white, an Asian guy. You know what I'm saying? Like black men, we'd be perfectly fine without them. The human race would be maybe even further ahead than we were if it weren't for black men.
Listen,
I really do think,
when you
like,
say that,
stop me.
I'm so sorry, Vincent.
Stop me if I say something that we can't.
No,
we can't say here.
When you say that, it's like that. Listen, you can say it, but I can't finish that question. But when it comes down to me, that's the whole entire plan. So,
but it's like what I really think what white men should have done when white men got to Africa.
Well, let's not say that here, but
okay.
we'll talk about that on private.
All right.
Yeah,
I definitely have.
But I understand. Everybody knows.
Okay. All right, we'll talk about it another time. But all right, I'll move on to that one. So, as far as this middle category, I think Asian men have the provider part down pat. I think as far as protector, again, and this isn't even a bad thing. That's just not what they're suited for. But but as far as the provider part, they have that down pat. Um, I think Hispanic men, for the most part, like I know you have your deadbeat Hispanic guys. For the most part, I feel like they try. They don't do that well, but I do think they try. You know, like Hispanic men. I heard somebody say this once: is white men seek power, Asian men seek wealth, um, Hispanic men seek opportunity, and black men seek sex. That's what I heard once. And I thought,
Yeah.
like, that's a really good thing. And
I
that
mean,
doesn't mean that other men don't seek sex and wealth.
unfortunately, when it comes to Hispanic men, they're not really a race. So, because you could be a black man and be Hispanic, you could be anything and being Hispanic because it's a cultural heritage, technically. But I mean, when you look at what's going on in the Spanish speaking countries, that's what I will say. They're having a lot of issues over there. That's why so many of them are coming to United States and other parts of the world. So they're having they're the worst countries, unfortunately. Right, they're like I said, they're right behind black men, unfortunately. I'm hoping that can be a turnaround. But from what it's looking like, from what it was 20 years ago in those countries, it's getting so much worse with the femicide, with the prostitution and the drugs and the cartel. Unfortunately, it's and
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
very adjacent to. I can talk about in America. They're very adjacent to black men, unfortunately. They're highly accepted into the black male culture due to a lot of the same sentiments. I have to say that because they have the same sentiments as black men, unfortunately. I have to say that because it's more prevalent. It's more prevalent in their countries, but I believe that when they come here and because of their fear of white men, they calm it down just a little bit. So that's what I've been seeing my life. So
Yeah, I'll agree with that. But like I said earlier, is when I say these things, so I'll repeat this, and then I actually want to use this to break down what I ultimately think about every race. Is that white men seek power, Asian men seek wealth, Hispanic men seek opportunity, and black men seek sex. And when I say that, that doesn't mean that white men don't also seek wealth, opportunity, and sex. That doesn't mean that Asian men don't also seek power, sex, and opportunity. That doesn't mean that Hispanic men don't also seek wealth, power, and sex. That doesn't mean that black men wouldn't also like power, wealth, and opportunity. Everybody would like all those things, but it's which one's your top priority? And with white men, it's power. Power is our top priority. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with another man having more money than me if I have power over him. You know what I'm saying? Because the reason why people like money is a lot of people perceive it to be power. It's
no,
not.
no, money is not power. Money is a tool.
Yeah, money is a tool, but it's not explicitly power. You know what I'm saying? Like an Asian guy that's a doctor might make more money than the head of a mafia, but that mafia guy has more power, I promise you. You know what I'm saying? And white men like power. Asian men like wealth. They're willing to make their own children, go into labor for wealth. You know what I'm saying? Hispanic men seek opportunity. They'll wipe your floors and all kinds of shit. They will work. I don't want to call that. I really don't want to paint that demographic as lazy or whatever. I want to give them their due credit. They're not a lazy demographic, but they often do futile, work. And then black men, I like sex too. I like hot girls. Every guy likes hot girls. You know what I'm saying? But black men, that seems to be the first thing they're focused on. A big part of why they want power and wealth is because they want it to lead to sex. You get what I'm saying? Um, See, yeah, that's also it. Is just like when you're thinking about that, even in bed, they want to be dominant in half hours. Like, absolutely, if you're into the 50 Shades of Grey type stuff, you're gonna have to get a white man because that's how white men are. You know, that is a white guy sexual behavior. Um, but white men seek power. You know what I'm saying? If we're chasing wealth, we're doing wealth for power. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how rich Steve Jobs was. Obviously, he was a very rich guy. But more important to Steve Jobs was basically, yeah, you guys can totally make a t-shirt out of that quote. But more important than that was I'm surprised y'all like that quote so much. Is that white men like Steve Jobs wanted to be the creator of the iPhone that changed the world and everything. Now, this just so happened to make him rich, which I'm sure he didn't mind at all. But he really wanted to just put his mark on the map. You know what I'm saying? And but white men seek power. You know what I'm saying? Asian men seek wealth. Even now, like the greatest Asian power in the world, China, is trying to gain power through economics. But if a war broke out, it would be America or Russia who would end up on top. Most likely Russia. And definitely not fucking China. A black woman has already married me. I thought I've talked about that before. Yeah, I'm married and I'm married to a black woman. Um, fucking what was I talking about? Hispanic men, they seek opportunity. Something like I want to talk about like gangs, right? Like let's talk about our gangs. Is we have mafias, right? Like we'll talk about like Italian mafias for white. We have yakuza, we have cartels, and then we have um, black guys and their little bandana laser tag games. So it's a
You're so
I
funny.
know those other mafias exist. I'm just talking about the Italian mafia because that's the most influential, biggest one. But
Stop.
but so we'll start with the black one, right? And they got their laser tag. And what I mean by laser tag is like I'm wearing red and he's wearing blue, and we see each other and we start shooting, right? Like it's like laser tag. You get what I'm saying? Like mafias don't act like this. Like you had the 5 families in New York, and we don't shoot each other on sight. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, he's part of that group. Let's just start shooting. Like we don't act like that. But black men do, is because it's sloppy and disorganized, because everything that black men do is sloppy and disorganized because black men are sloppy and disorganized. But so Crips and Bloods, they suck. And everything that black men have ever been involved in sucks, and it's sloppy and it's stupid. Now cartels, they're a lot more organized than black gangs. They're unethical, I think is the problem. But they are more organized, and they are more successful than Crips or Bloods. So then we move on to Yakuza. Yakuza are more ethical than cartels and a lot more than Crips and Bloods type things. But they still have, how would I put this? A lot of the down, dirty type of things that Hispanics are known for, like brainwashing children into becoming transgenders and then running those transgenders as prostitutes. Yakuza is also known for. So they are also unethical, but not as much as the cartel. And they are more successful because they're more organized and play less laser tag. But then this brings us to the mafia, right? And I really want to talk about the mafia because the mafia was honestly intended as a good thing. And I really want everybody to understand that is that the mafia wasn't made to be a bunch of tough guys being mean. I feel like that's how media depicts it, is they just wanted easy money or whatever. The mafia was made because Italian immigrants did not trust the government. I don't think too many people nowadays can fault them for feeling that way. And so they decided, in a libertarian sense, to govern themselves. That's what the mafia was. And so mafias were kind of the people's the people's government, if you will. You know what I'm saying? So you had a problem with so and so, you would go talk to, the guys in your mafia, right? And they would handle it. Like, that's what that is. So, like, say something I saw, I think this happened a couple of years ago, is there was some stupid black ass drive by. And this girl's holding her baby. This woman's holding her baby. And this black guy drives by, shoots the woman. Who the fuck drives by?
You're so funny.
Who the fuck does a drive by on a woman, by the way? Does a drive by on a woman?
Black men. Black men.
Does a drive by on a woman and then kills her, holding her baby. So this baby falls to the ground because the mom that was holding her was shot dead. You get what I'm saying? And also you got to think about that is just like he's doing a drive by. So he honestly, if he had ended up shooting the child, he didn't seem to care about that. I could see cartel and Yakuza being like this. I don't know that to a certainty, but they are known for harming children and stuff. But never in a million years would a mafia harm a child. Never. White men have, I think, the most honor of all races of men. Because never in a million years would a white man start shooting at somebody holding a child, no matter what that person had done. You get what I'm saying? Like, we're going to make sure we understand that kid is not involved. No matter how much money that other person owes, no matter how much they did, no matter what they did wrong, we're not going to attack somebody holding a child. We're going to get that child away, and then we're going to attack them. And we might punch them even more for trying to use that child as a shield. But we're not going to do that. This right here is something. This type of behavior right here is something, and I really want people to understand this, is that the mafia is not as bad as Hollywood makes it out to be. They could be violent, but they do that to get results. But they were really meant to be kind of like a people's government kind of thing. Like even Al Capone, like what did he do? He bootlegged, he made alcohol. Why? Because the people wanted it and the government took it away. Now, that's not me saying that alcohol is a super important need for life, but every single person who's ever drank alcohol understand that at one point in time, the government took that away from you and the mafia gave it back to you. So before we all think about how big and bad the mafia is, like, understand that their enemy is the government, not the people. So now let's see. Self-correction. Oh, and another thing. Sorry, one more thing about the mafia thing, and then I swear to God, I'm going to move on. One more thing about the mafia thing is protection. Is they did offer for protection from just rowdy ass little kids. Even back here in like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, black kids were still known for knocking out windows and stealing shit or whatever. When they offered protection in movies, it's depicted as like offer protection basically from them. What protection money actually was is that you paid the mafia a set amount of money every month, and then they would keep a guy hanging around to make sure no black kids busted out your windows and stole your shit, or that if they did, they were gunned down and killed. Oh, shit. Sorry. I forgot we can't talk like that.
I know it's all right, Vincent.
Sorry.
So
I forgot we
it's
couldn't
okay.
I forgot I can't talk like that. All right, whatever. Guess that part has to get edited out or something.
No, it's okay. It's all right.
So well, whatever. So moving on. So now we're on to self-correction and accountability. So black men, they're like children. They do the things they do, and then like they cry, right? Like a child will do something, right? Like a child will hit their sister, and then you get mad at them, and the child gets upset. They feel like you're being mean to them. You know what I'm saying? This is how black men are. As black men will, like, you know, go to a liquor store, shoot everybody up, and then get arrested and be like, "Oh, the cops are hurting my wrists with these handcuffs." Well, yeah, because your dumb black ass went into this fucking liquor store and shot 5 fucking people. Like, I don't know how the fuck you expected the cops to treat you. But if you go into a liquor store and rob 5 people, yeah, we're going to put the handcuffs on your fucking wrists. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know, whatever. I don't feel bad for George Floyd. I think everybody in the chat seems to know this, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I will never forgive this country for treating this guy like he was the second coming of Jesus Christ for a fucking year when he is the kind of person that he is. And who is he? George Floyd has a criminal record because he once held a gun to a pregnant black woman's stomach and told her that he was going to shoot her through the stomach, killing her and her kid if she tried to stop him while his friends looted her home. Okay? So while y'all are out here building gold statues of this motherfucker, that's who he is. You get what I'm saying? Calling me racist or whatever isn't going to change the fact that that's who he is and that's what he did. And buying t-shirts with his face on it and shit like that, this is the motherfucker you're out here worshiping. And I will use the word worship because that's what y'all did for a fucking year. I saw some stupid fucking painting and it had this guy, George Floyd, and he was like painted next to Malcolm X and Gandhi and shit. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, and what did he do?
Well, they're about to name a school after him too. That's what I'm hearing now. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm gonna find out. So
yeah, I mean, if they do, what we have to do if they make that school is we have to get like
the high school of George Floyd. I mean, well, you know what? That might not be a bad thing, but we'll talk about that on another live because I got other plans for that.
I mean, that's fine as long as they put only broke ass black boys in that fucking school. You know what I'm saying?
As long as they can come work for me, I have no issues with that.
But
work for you.
Nah, I don't want to. But like what we need to do if they make that a school, this is the only thing I'll say about the school, is like I saw this one cartoon where somebody pointed George Floyd holding a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach. We need to paint that on the side of the building. Like one night, like during summer when nobody's there or whatever, put that on the side of the building. You know what I'm saying? But I will never, for the rest of my life, forget people worshiping that stupid fucking I will never, ever, 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 ever forget that. I'll never forget people wearing shirts that say "I can't breathe" and shit. And y'all acting like "I can't breathe." Those three words that show that someone's getting their ass whooped. is equivalent to like I have a dream or something. Like this is just someone that all he ever did was get his ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, these other races we've talked about and again, not as bad as black men, but they have a kind of a general lack of accountability too. Fun fact, China will not extradite a national. So if a Chinese person commits a crime, and like here in America or Britain or wherever, and then they go to China, that Chinese person cannot be extradited. So you can, so a Chinese guy could hypothetically, not that this is typical of Asian men, but hypothetically, a Chinese man could come down here, rape a woman, go back to China, and then nothing happened to him because the Chinese government will not allow him to be extradited. So, just a fun fact there about China. So, all these other groups, while not as bad as black men, do have a somewhat lack of accountability. Mm-hmm. And then white men, we've talked about this before. I remember Brent said it was more like we're islands. It's like, we don't do this, like, true to your people. Up, he's a white man, he's one of us, we need to be true to him. Like, no, if you're fucking up, we're going to kick you out. Therefore, white men fuck up the least because we do not tolerate white men fucking up. Let's see, male leadership. There has never been black male leadership. They bully at best. They don't lead. They like to bully women. They like to bully kids. They like to bully old people. And they like to jump equivalent men. But something that I think like whenever guys are into like anime or video games, I think black men really give that kind of stigma because like I've met white men that are into those things but are still fit, are still successful, are still everything they're supposed to be, and that anime, video games, and stuff is just kind of a hobby for them. Whereas I've met black guys that are into that shit, and that's just kind of all they do. And they just kind of find someone to live off while they're into this shit. You know what I'm saying? They're man children. And so I think there's a difference between a nerd and a guy that has nerdy interest. And that's another thing that black men really don't get the credit for is just how fucking nerdy and useless they can. Oh my God. I cannot talk about this group of guys for like 5 fucking minutes without thinking about how absolutely fucking garbage they are. You know what I'm saying?
Trust me, I lived it and I've experienced it. I mean, we all have pretty much, so.
And then we have this like black culture, this whole like true to your people thing where black men are expected to just kind of be almost coddled. I shouldn't say almost, but it's like, but not just coddled by society as a whole, but also black women. You get what I'm saying? And hold on, we got somebody caps here. Sunshine. I'm getting to that, Sunshine, I promise. Is this thing where why do black men get away with a lot of the things? It's often because, as we talked about this on the enablers chat, is that black women, which I really can't get on them too much because they are raised from birth to be like this, enable and coddle black men. But that was something that was taught to them by the black men that were older than them. And so black men, they want this like rep for leadership, but they don't want to do shit for it. Like when we were talking about kings, like when people think about kings, like a king is not just on a crown, on a throne, wearing a crown on a throne, just getting his way all the fucking time. He is a leader. He is a politician. He is doing. Black men want to be on the throne. They don't want to do any of that thing, any of the shit that it requires, to be on the throne. Now, nobody wants to do those things, but every other guy seems to understand that that comes with the throne. Black men just want the throne, and then when they don't get it, they feel like they're being mistreated, like a spoiled little fucking child. And if sometimes you've been working really hard and your knees hurt and you need a place to rest them, a black man is never too far away. Can I say that? I tried to dance around saying it.
You can say that. That's good.
Okay. Yeah, cool. So neutral. My only problem with non-white leaders besides black leaders isn't that necessarily that they don't do the work, because they do, but just the really like unethical things they'll do to get there, like China with no extradition, and with child labor laws and stuff like that, or that kind of thing, or how Chinese and Hispanics will often like I've heard both from both Asian and Hispanics. It wasn't a Chinese guy, but an Asian guy who would pimp his own sister. You know what I'm saying? And I've known things like that where like an Hispanic guy like that, where it's like this is his family member who's a prostitute that he's kind of selling. Whether or not everybody here feels prostitution is bad is, I guess, a different conversation. I'm a libertarian, or at least I'm somewhere between libertarian and right. If anybody was interested in where I am politically, is I'm somewhere between libertarian and right. Politically, I actually feel like I'm homeless, but these guys, like I would never know a white man to do that, to be the pimp for his sister and his sister be his whore. But these other groups of men will do that. Man, that child labor thing, I can't believe I fucking forgot. But I'm going to talk about that some more because I feel like it's relevant right now. Is, as a man, I don't give a fuck what the government says. As a man, you should not be tolerating your child getting put in some fucking sweatshop. And you are less of a man if you allow it to happen. You know what I'm saying? You should be gunned down, dead in the street, fighting for your fucking kid before you let that happen. But the fact that it continues in China and other countries like that, like North Korea, tells me that it seems the majority of people are actually okay with it, which is unfortunate. You get what I'm saying? I feel like as white people, the closest we get to child labor is like a lemonade stand. But whatever. And I know there was someone in here earlier that said she was married to an Asian guy. I'm not attacking your husband if you feel like that's what I'm doing, because I don't know your husband and he could be a fantastic guy. I don't know. The thing is just because of the way this conversation is structured, we have to speak in generalities. We have to speak in majorities and percentages. Your husband, your Asian husband, might be a fantastic guy. You get what I'm saying? And I hope he is, and I hope you guys are happy together and all that kind of stuff. And if you are, then I'm happy for the both of you. That doesn't, I don't know if he's Chinese, Japanese, what a specific nationality is. And I don't really care. You don't have to tell me wherever you are. But still, like the things, like there are things that all of us races have done over the course of history. And I really do think Asian men are often given a pass on a lot of their bullshit. Do you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people don't even think about it. Like, we know about sweatshops, but we don't attribute that to Asians, and we should be, because they are. I can't remember. I think her picture was like a light green. I think it's just a letter. But someone earlier was talking about that. But wherever she is,
Yeah. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
We're cool. And nothing against you, nothing against your husband. But back to the topic. I really do think that a that white led society is always the best society. I can't think of a single white led society that it was actually bad, that actually did poorly. Not one. Not a single fucking one. The Irish and the Celtic were behind the rest of whites. But even then, I wouldn't call that a bad society. So I really do think it's in everyone's best interest to either have white leadership or to wherever you are, mimic it. Even if it's not even white people in charge. But like if black men were to do as white men did, then there wouldn't be a problem. You know what I'm saying? The problem isn't necessarily with their skin, their facial features. The problem is with their behavior. If they were to stop acting the way they currently act and to act more like white men, then the problem would just go away. There would be no problem. Everything would be fine. You know what I'm saying? Stop with the baby mama shit. Stop with the pussy bleeding. Just fuck girls. I don't think that's a lot to ask out of men. It's just fuck, women and not each other. And at the age of 18, you can join the army. You could become a doctor inside 10 years. Join the army and have no fucking debt or anything. You get what I'm saying? Like that is an option that you as a black man very much have, that everybody has. You don't need to deal drugs. You don't need to fuck each other in the ass. You don't need to abandon your kids. Like all the other black guy shit that you're always doing. Like you don't need to be doing this. If you stop, then everybody's problem with you will just go away, just like that. You know what I'm saying? My problem with this neutral category is simply just the lack of ethics. It's not necessarily the lack of work ethic. It's not the lack of responsibility. It's just like I said, like sweatshops and child labor and prostitution of their own family members and children. And yeah, because child prostitution, that's a huge thing that's in Asian countries too. Shit like this is, I think, odd. But besides that, this neutral category, they do, when you compare them to, the black men, like, of course they're doing better. Like, of course they are. You know what I'm saying? And they do seem to take care of their kids. I know that you're saying Hispanics are second worst, with black men being the worst, but yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry. They do have child labor and such in Hispanic countries too. You're right. They do. But it's just Asians are a lot worse about that. But they do have that in Hispanic countries too. Absolutely, and their little soda factories and stuff like that. So that's the only thing I would change about the neutral group is just their lack of ethics. They work hard, and for the most part, they do what they're supposed to do, but they can be extremely unethical. So yeah, I think that wraps up what I have to say about this slide.
No, Vincent, you're wonderful. You're great. Well, this is kind of a sensitive topic for some. It's not a sensitive topic for me. I like I said, this is something that I came across. This is how I view things in my mind. And this is what I've seen played out in my life since I've been alive, since the day I've been born. And as I've gotten older and learned how to read and learned education, and I've learned throughout history, that just seems to be a pattern that I've seen. And that's just really what it is, and what the conclusion to what I'm saying is that it just seems that your group of men are the better males. And if I'm thinking about superiority in males, because there's been this conversation online on male superiority. I don't want to say male superiority, but I would say male hierarchy. It would be your men would be on the higher end of that male hierarchy, and and that's just how I view it. And I'm just one black woman. I don't, but that's just my view on how I see things.
Real quick, I see that someone's. It's been a little bit since I've been truly looking at the live chat here, so I'm sorry if I missed any questions that anybody's asking me. But someone's right here asking Lexi, as far as the Hep C thing. So a big thing, and this again is, I would assume that these are Asian immigrants, and the reason why is, again, just in the pursuit of wealth over power. Asian men, like Asian countries, will often needle share. They'll reuse medical supplies that they shouldn't be reusing to save money, even though they have the money to do it, simply so that they can have more money. Just these kind of shortcuts to make money, to save money, is something that's very prevalent in Asian countries, like child labor, is doing unethical things like reusing the same needle on multiple patients so that they don't have to buy as many needles. That would most definitely result in a lot of people getting Hep C. Dirty hospitals can make somebody more sick than they were when they went in. So that is where the Hep C would come from. Oh, and wow. You know what else we didn't talk about whenever people were defending Asian guys? There's a little disease that China saw fit to release upon the earth. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's called, let me look it up real quick. I think it's called COVID-19. You guys may have heard of that.
Vincent, you're so funny.
So before we blow too much smoke up the Asian guy's ass, realize that them fucking up is why we were all locked inside for 2 fucking years. Okay.
Well,
So
it is what it is.
No, that's them.
Well,
Like, you remember that shit, dead ass. Like whenever, like I remember, like toward the beginning, like I eventually got the Asian guys, and a lot of people were like, oh no. Like, yeah, remember that shit. Remember why were we inside and wearing masks and having to stand 6 feet apart and all this stupid shit for 2 fucking years because of that. You get what I'm saying? Never forget that shit. So anyway, was there any questions you had, or anybody? If you put questions in the live chat right now, I'm looking. I don't respond
guys,
to. I don't respond to pussy boys.
Yeah, I'm gonna end the live in about 15 minutes, guys. So if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the comment section. I'm not having anybody up, unfortunately, at this time, but definitely put in your comments in the comment section, or you can also email me. I am gonna have a private, not at tonight, because it's getting too late, unfortunately, but I am going to have a private. I'm going to start having private conversations soon. I mean, Vincent, it's very, I mean, this is how I basically view this is how I just view it. This is what I came up with. And I'm it's and this is just what it is. This is the world that we live in. And if I'm going to procreate, I'm going to procreate with the best of the best. That's just what it is for me. So, I mean, and I I say this many times. No man is perfect. It's all about going for the best. You understand what I'm saying? I say that and I say that again. Men are men, but it's all about choosing the best man. So if I'm comparing other groups of men amongst each other, I will go for the best men. That's it.
No, that's the objectively right. That's the Darwinist decision to make. So let's see. Did you have a fascination for black women? Okay, so yeah, I guess I'll get into this now. So it started, I guess, in high school, where my humor and my profanity and everything really started flowing strong there. And white women are just so goddamn sensitive and just so stale. And this isn't all white women, but a lot of them. You know, we all know the Karen personality. And it just like even today, like in this day and age, it's just like goddamn, like just how easily offended they are about the smallest, stupidest fucking things. And I like to play around. I like to joke. I'm direct, and I'll talk like this with black women, and they just think it's fucking funny. You get what I'm saying? And you know, whenever Twilight was big, and I've never been a particularly feminine looking guy. Fucking black women weren't into it. You know what I'm saying? And so like my humor flows better with them. They don't like little Nancy boys, and I just clicked better with them. And then I mean, we're all adults here. Once I got to be a more sexual person, that ended up being the group that I was most sexually attracted to anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I liked them, they liked me. I have the zaddy look to me. I don't think if I ever show my face on here, it'll be a very long time from now. But
no, you don't have to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm not showing it. Not yeah. But yeah, just the way I look is I look like the celebrity that everybody compares me to is Gerard Butler. That's what like absolutely everybody that's ever met me says is like when it comes to celebrities, that's the one I hear is Gerard Butler. So just like the middle-aged, handsome, dark-haired white guy type thing. I'm not a Brad. I'm more of a Vincent, I guess what we'll call the other one.
No, but Gerard Butler is very attractive. Like, I mean, I have a type, but I would definitely do Gerard Butler. So.
Yeah, but like you see, like Gerard Butler, I wouldn't call him Brad because that's just not.
I think that when they talk about a Brad, I think they're talking about someone with blonde hair and blue eyes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that's what yeah. I feel like. I feel like Vincent, just the name Vincent, should be the placeholder name for our more Mediterranean, Italian, and French guys. But I think Vincent's a good name for that. So we have our Brads, which is our Irish Celtic guys, and then we have our Italian and French guys, our Greek guys, and they can be Vincents. But somebody asked me something real quick. Oh, who is Gerard Butler? You know Gerard Butler. He's 300. He plays King Leonidas.
Sweetheart, Google it. Google Gerard Butler. He's a really good actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's cool. Yeah. Let's see. You're talking about vetting people or whatever. Mahogany fan earlier said that she would like to be vetted for somebody to come on alive or whatever sometime. But
say that again, Vincent. I'm sorry.
This username Mahogany fan was asking if she can be like if you vet people to come on the live and talk. She was asking to be one.
Oh yes, I'm gonna put my email in the email comment. I'm gonna put my email on the screen right now. I am gonna end the live in about 7 minutes, so I'm gonna put my email on the screen. screen, and you guys can email me.
Okay, so let's see. Did I miss any questions? Did you see China recently? It seems to be coming back. Oh, what, COVID? Yeah, COVID is coming back. If you're smart with where you invest your money, or if you work in the medical field, if you're smart, COVID is actually an amazing business opportunity. Just saying.
It surely
Like,
is. It
if
surely
you're
is.
smart,
It
you put your
is.
money in the right place, you can make some money off this shit. All right. So we're ending in what, probably like 5 minutes now.
Yeah.
Do I eat soul food? No. I learned everything that I know how to cook. I learned in New Orleans from my grandma. So I can make like I can make jambalaya and gumbo and stuff. My wife does most of the cooking, and we just usually eat normal, just American food. But yeah, but I can make jambalaya and gumbo. Wifey is black. I mean, and she's not mixed. Gerard Butler. I'm surprised that all of y'all like Gerard Butler. I get told that all the time. Like, that's the only actor I think I've ever really been compared to. No, African ancestry, not Caribbean. Yeah, 300's a top 5 movie to me. I don't have green eyes though. I have dark eyes. Fucking yeah, 300. My favorite movies are 300, Gladiator, Heat. If anybody's ever seen Heat, love that fucking movie. That's my favorite movie ever. Is Heat. Robert De Niro and Al Pacino. Heat. Casino Royale. I'm not even the biggest James Bond guy, but I absolutely love that shit. Casino Royale and Fight Club. Do I have an accent? I tried to. I thought I got past that. I get maybe there's some kind of left in my voice. So, did you have anything else? I don't see any.
No, not
You know,
necessarily.
so I just fucking watched John Wick today. Actually, the first one. That movie is fucking cool. That movie is fucking cool. All right, say what with the French accent? See, it's hard for me to go back to an accent. Like I don't know how to describe that. Like um I do like Tarantino. Just none of his movies would be in my top 5. But I love Pulp Fiction. Who doesn't? I love Reservoir Dogs. I loved Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I know a lot of people thought that movie was boring. I really, really, really liked that one. I loved the buddy bromance in that one, and really liked Brad Pitt's character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I loved Inglourious Bastards. Brad Pitt's character in Inglourious Bastards is fucking on point. Loved Inglourious Bastards. Yeah, I do like Tarantino. I just wouldn't put any of his movies in my top 5, but Tarantino and Martin Scorsese anything that those two make, Tarantino or Scorsese. They make a movie, I'm fucking, I'm totally there day one. I actually like Scorsese more than Tarantino. He's my favorite.
All right, Vincent. I thank you so much tonight for coming. I'm gonna actually end this in about 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're
But
fine. We're just talking movies and shit now. Like,
yeah.
nothing important.
Yeah.
I appreciate all y'all though. We got your channel just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like you are
Say
making
that
such
again.
a splash. Your channel is just gets bigger and bigger. Like you are making such a splash.
Well, you know what? I when I started, I wanted to do this. Um this is very important to me. It's becoming more and more important. Yeah, because yeah. But bringing white men up here to talk to, so because I got so tired of black men talking for white men, because I it's not that only that I grew up with them, it's just the fact that I've dated them, I've interact with them, I work with them, I've spent so much of my life with them, and then when black men are saying these things about y'all, it's like I know that's not true because I deal with these men. So, and when I started listening to YouTube, it was mostly during the coronavirus, and I started to hear what they were saying. um they kept saying to me, what they kept saying is that they're friends with white men, and this is what white men are telling them. And
I think it's that the thing is
and
you
and, and I'm
know
not and then I'm not going
lions.
to dispute what they're saying. I'm so sorry to cut you off. I'm not going to dispute what they're saying, because they could be friends with white men that are trash, and that's what it sounds like mostly to me. But the white men that I have been around my life don't sound like the white men that they're mentioning. So I won't say that's wrong. I don't believe it, but I don't have proof of that. But a lot of them keep saying that. Even members of my family would say that. But I've never seen any of their white male friends. So I just started to think to myself that that's odd.
I'll say that the reason why white men don't often get involved in this kind of thing is because lions don't get involved in the conversations of gazelle. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Exactly.
they can talk shit about us, but here they are drug dealing, playing laser tag, and fucking each other in the ass. Like, why would we really care too much?
Yes.
Why would we really care too much what these people think? You get what I'm saying? But every now and then we need to, you know, we need to address this kind of thing. But that's for the most part why like you don't hear white guys talking about this. Is it's like, dude, like they they go to public school and then intentionally try to seem illiterate. Like something like whenever you're texting a black guy, he texts you back something misspelled. It's like, what the fuck? Autocorrect would have fixed that, which means you intentionally meant to misspell it because he thought it looked cool. So people that can't fucking spell, that fuck each other in the ass, that play laser tag with their gangs, and that deal drugs and can't fucking
Right,
read.
right. You
Like,
know that
why do I care what these people think?
my uncle and my brother really triggered me. I'm not gonna lie, because they were saying the exact same thing, and I thought it was very, when my brother, when I was because my aunt recently died a couple of weeks ago, and I went to that funeral or whatever. I usually don't, but when when my younger brother was talking to me, and the reason why I had to put him on blast is because there needs to be a very clear, because I'm not connected to my black brother the way most black women are. And there needs to be a very clear understanding on how I view my family members, my black male family members, especially my black brother, because um I don't have that connection with him like that. And I needed him to understand, and my uncle to also understand that we're two separate different entities. And I wanted white men to clarify that, because I got tired of him trying to tell me what I already know. You understand what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
I wanted it to be very clear to him on how y'all feel about him and how y'all feel about us. You understand what I'm saying?
So for
Because
the most part, whenever
he,
you hear a white person complaining about black people, like what they
right.
mean is black men. You get what I'm saying?
I,
Like
I, I'm, I'm,
I
I
do think
already
they need
know
to get
that.
better about specifying that, but like
Yeah, I
we
already
know
know
which
that.
ones
That
out
I
here
know. But
doing all the bullshit.
I needed to clarify that for my younger brother and for my uncle, because because you see the problem that I have with black men. I'm going to tell you what the number one problem that I have with them is, that including my younger brother and my uncle, and I'm going to say this, is that they don't know their place. They don't know their place. They think they're running shit and they don't. And I needed y'all to confirm that. I needed you to say that, because they think that they can manipulate me, and like I don't know. Like I don't know what's going on. And they keep forgetting that I'm smarter than them, and I interact with these men and I do know, but I'm just glad that it's been confirmed. That's what that it, and it's not a rival thing. It's more of I don't have that attachment to my male family members the way most black women do, because to me they're just men. That's what they are to me. They're just men to me. I don't view him as my brother really like that, or my uncle, or my uncle, or my cousin. I just view them as men. That's it. And men are men to me. So when I say men are men, I mean men are men, and I see them that way even in my own family. So, but I wanted that to be an understanding on where they stand, because I think that they have this situation a little confused, and and that's all I need, and that's what it is,
The no, I feel you on all that. Duh, 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 duh.
because most black women are conditioned by their black male family members. So I needed to put my male family members on blast. There's going to be more to come with that, because a lot of us are conditioned by our black male family members, and the most of the conditioning is coming from the black mother as well, because I have a very black male identified black mother. So I didn't realize why she was what she was and the way she was acting towards me, because it's so normal for black mothers to behave the way they behave towards their black daughters, because I didn't realize how what that was. But now that I'm getting older, I'm starting to figure out it's because she's black male identified. That's the problem. And
No, that's a huge
yeah.
problem with that. Let me answer two questions real quick because I know we're
Mhm.
wrapping up. Um, someone said something about heat. I can't remember. That's the other actor I get told I've looked by the way. It's almost always Gerard Butler, but De Niro from Around Then, like 90s De Niro. That's the other guy I get told I look like. And then Alana, what was it? She had something. Or is it? Do white guys like big butt? That depends on the white guy. Like you have white men that are ass men, you have white men that are tit men, you have white men that are skinny men. It depends. But you know, like everybody keep yourself fit and healthy, which is what you should be doing anyway. But no, that's not gonna be a problem. Whichever end of that spectrum you're on, you'll find a guy that likes a big ass, or you'll find a guy that likes just a skinny girl. It's cool. So I have nothing else, and I feel like for the most part we're all wound down, and nobody seems to feel like all questions have been answered for the time being. So I'm good with wrapping this up if you are.
No problem, Vincent. I appreciate you being on here. Thank you so much. You're wonderful as always. Yes. I can't wait to see you on the next live next time. And yes, thank you for coming again, and I will see you later.
Okay, I'll see you later. I always have fun with this.
Absolutely. I have fun too as well. I appreciate you coming. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye. Hello, everyone. It's Pro White Male Leadership. I hope you guys enjoyed the live tonight. This was a live on male hierarchy. We need to know who are the dominant males. Some of you might be offended by this, but this has been a long historical thing that I've been researching for years. And also some of it is personal experience as well, but most of this is backed by data. So white males are the hierarchy males. They are the superior males out of every male. And that is what history, even modern day, has shown us, that they are the better men. And that is what Black women need to choose. And yes, there's other groups of men, but they are on the lower end of the spectrum. And like I said this and said this again, there's 3 groups of males. There's high, there's neutral, and there's low. And we need to choose the best option. I thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much again. I appreciate you guys, and enjoy your night and stay safe. It's Pro White Male Leadership, and enjoy your night.
Let me tell you, girl, this day ain't over. My job ain't done. Baby, till I make you smile. Let me tell you, girl, this day ain't over. My job ain't done. Baby, till I make you smile. Let me tell you, girl, this day ain't over. My job ain't done. Baby, till I make you smile. Let me tell you, girl.